process of getting our live stream going. It's probably live now, but again, at the start of these live streams, it never quite tells me the exact time we go live. So Dan's trying to pitch the ball 60 yards.
Yeah.
Dan's trying to pitch it 60 yards with a what loft this club, Dan?
I've got 56 degree.
56. So I put it out to Twitter earlier on. Hello everybody. Mark Crossfield here as well. And Stephen Laird said, can you do pitching and chipping techniques? So we're going to do pitching.
Yeah.
Dan's hitting a few 56s out to 60 yards with his 56 degree. I just want to show you some things I think lots of people get a little wrong with their pitching. So Dan now has hit 6 shots. Yeah, 6 shots. No, you've hit 5 because number 1 was deleted. So go to now to your 56. Oh, sorry, your 60.
60. Okay.
So basically, that was Dan's 56 here. Now, if I can get it in front of the camera, helps. There, you probably can see the loft on the bottom there. Look, that was his 56, which was the first from 2 to number 5 shots. Now at his 60 degree. Again, trying it to finish at 60 yards. Got any questions? Post them in the comments. Hello everyone. Nearly bedtime, morning, brah. Chatting to people. Sorry, I'm coming back. If you're liking the live videos, remember to hit that thumbs up button. Don't be afraid to subscribe to the channel as well. Plenty more lives coming on. So when you get to 11 shots, you've got 2 more down. I will hit for you with my wedges, and we're just going to explain to you what we both do, which is very similar. I've not separated the data because we don't really need to.
No. It's interesting. These are quite new wedges for me, so I'm
trying to feel the difference.
I wouldn't necessarily normally use a 60 for this shot.
No.
56 is my favourite club, really.
Okay.
Use 56, 60, don't you?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to hit. Great. So there's Dan's 10 shots. So question to you, Dan.
Yeah.
Launch angle with both of those clubs, different or the same?
Both the clubs, they're going to be slightly different.
Different launch angles. So 60 going higher.
60 is going to be launching slightly higher.
Okay. By much or loads or not much?
Not, because I'm trying to probably push a bit more into it, so I'm probably leaning into it fractionally more. But
here we go. So if we look at launch angle, you'll see here. So launch angle here. This is the ball's launch angle on this line here. Everything launches within basically 32 being his highest launch, 27.9 being your lowest launch. Your highest launch with the 56 was 31.1.
yeah.
So basically what you're doing is you're launching your 56 and your 60 through a specific gap every time.
Yeah.
So if you look at those launch models, as I hit mine now,
Okay.
I reckon, don't be afraid obviously to edit on here as well, don't remember.
Yeah.
I reckon that surprises you how close they are.
That is surprising, actually. I mean, I suppose I have this, when I'm pitching, I have a window vision. So I'm trying to hit it through a window.
Yeah.
So I am looking at that, and but I would expect to see that 60 just go that little bit higher.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you expect to see that?
I don't, because I've seen the research.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
That's why I've set this up for you to trip up.
Bearing in mind, I don't know what we're really doing here
exactly,
today,
but that's what I didn't tell Dan what we were doing before we started, because this is something I think lots of people don't understand, even good players.
Yeah.
But good players will do it. And what happens, which we'll talk about as we go on, is your average amateur doesn't actually launch through these windows, which is why they can't control their pitching, which we'll come to. Yeah. I'm just going to hit a few. I'll hit 3 with each just to show. So I'm going to start there at 56 degree.
56 degree.
To kick us off.
Okay, good.
And again, I'm going to try and land it 60 yards.
Yep.
Or make it finish 60 yards in theory, isn't it?
Yeah. So 57 yards is the ideal, really. Is where you're trying to land.
So I've landed that 59. So that's going to land and then just roll a little bit too far.
So launching that at 27 that time.
Okay. Right, I've hit that one too early. Hang on, I'll hit another one because you've got to wait for the screen.
It's coming up on here, so we're getting that.
Okay, cool. What did you get?
So that launching again at 27, landing at 56 yards.
Do you want to show it to the screen so
Yeah,
you can see
so let's
the launch
get that in
angle?
there. Can you see all that there, people?
27.
I can see that.
I reckon that's launching a little higher. That's 51.
Yeah, so that you can see there that that's launched at landed 54 yards, launching at 29 that time.
Yeah, so a little
Okay,
higher.
a little bit higher.
One more than the 56.
Yeah. Again, 29 launch.
It's gone in. Oh,
yeah, got it.
Oh, no, nearly.
And that's gone 53 yards carry.
So what was my launch there, did you say? I was 27,
You were 27, 27, 29, 29. So,
okay.
So what are you moving on to now?
60 degree, let me show you this.
60 degree.
Using the same ball each time.
Yeah. Okay, let's punch in there. 60 degree.
And again, I'm going to try and hit it the same. 3 shots, 60 yards.
Okay.
That's probably short.
That was a little bit clean.
Yeah, I'm going to hit that harder.
Let's see if we can punch in that. That launched at 25, landing at 52 yards.
Okay.
Oh, that's a little bit nicer.
Yeah, that's better. 59 in the air.
Yeah, so it's carried 58, 59, and launch of 28, nearly 29 launch that time.
Okay.
Again, 27 launch that time and landing 57 yards.
That was perfect. That was kind of stiff.
Like that?
Yeah.
Okay, that was good.
So basically, my launches and yours
Yeah.
are all within, even though I changed the loft by 4 degrees, and you do as well,
Yeah.
we're still launching it within degrees of each other, basically averaging for me around 27, 28, and for you around 29 to 30.
Yeah.
Now, what made my launch deviate? What do you reckon made my launch there jump, if it jumped? Anyone on the chat, they got an answer to that? What made my launch deviate there? Because it jumped by 2 degrees and 1 degree. What was my deviation in launch? So lowest launching to highest launching with
Lowest launching at 27, that bang on.
I thought I had one at 25.
Oh no, you did, yeah, that thinny one, bit clean. So 25, yeah, and then you went up to 20, well basically 29.
So 4 degrees deviation in launch, 4 degrees loft change.
Yeah.
What made the deviation? What made that launch jump? Anyone in the chat? Have they got it?
Reading speed, what's that? Bounce on the club, someone coming up with?
No.
Okay, ball position.
No, I played them. Well, that's a different point we'll come on to, but ball position doesn't change the launch, it would change what dynamic.
Yeah.
Any other suggestions?
Strike?
100%.
Yeah.
If I'd have struck them all in the exact same spot, they would have all launched almost exactly the same.
Yeah.
So what that shows for better players, and I see this kind of pattern more, I'm going to do it with a lower loft because I don't want to hit your screen. Rory's the best example. Rory Anderson, who plays in our videos.
Yeah.
He can hit a wedge that launches 60, he's trying to hit 60 yards. He can launch one, I don't know what that's launching at.
So that launched then at, if I punch in on that, that's launched in at 19.
Okay. And
carrying
if
at
he lands
54.
that at the 50, 60 yards, that's running through.
Yeah.
And then I don't want to hit your roof too much, but he's then going I don't want to hit it because I reckon I'll hit
You'll
the
punch
roof.
into that, yeah.
Because Dan's at a new screen at the moment, which is in process. And then he'll go and launch one up there.
Yeah.
What gives us the distance control is that we can launch it through a specific window every time with quite a variation of lofts. So we are actually controlling the loft to make sure we launch it through the window, to make sure we then get the distance. So if you think, let's do the hose, firing the hose, right?
Yeah.
So if I move the hose up to 30 degrees launch, okay?
Yeah.
All I need to do is make sure that if that's 30 degree launch, I need to make sure the power of the water going through that hose is the same every time, don't I?
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
So what we're doing is trying to get it as consistent as possible in our launches. And the biggest thing I see with amateurs is I see them launching wedges at crazy deviations when you give them a specific yardage.
Yeah. Apologies, everybody. I was reading the actual miles per hour there. And actually the carry is over here, okay? So that last shot, 44-yard carry.
Yeah.
Apologies for that.
Reading the right launch angle?
I've got the right launch angle, so that's the main focus.
It's the first time you've used the app, isn't it?
It's the first time I've used this app. So,
you normally use the screen, don't you?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
what we need to do is give them some ideas of how to control launch a little better.
Okay.
So if you jump in,
Yeah.
and I'll do some ideas with you. Dan's just going to practice a few things as I look at the dynamic loft. I was right, Jason Williams, yes. Dan was reading miles per hour instead of carry. Release, strike is king, Jimmy Anson. Absolute strike, angle of attack from Conroy. Angle of attack would affect launch if you were able to so if not on its own, it will have a smaller effect on it, depending on what dynamic loft you introduce.
Yeah.
But most people, as they move angle of attack, do move launch because they move dynamic loft as well. It's not just angle of attack on its own. Yeah. And a few other people saying strike here, wrist angles. Well, kind of, but position of club face, strike. Mark, when are you coming back to South Carolina? I'm not sure what that's got to do with today's video, but hopefully soon because it's blooming lovely. So, if you wanted to control launch,
Yeah.
what would be your first thing with a 56? I want you to hit one for me that goes lower. So I want it launching lower. You were launching around 29.
Yeah.
I want you just to hit one lower. Okay, so that one has launched at 25, so it's nearly 4 degrees lower. So he would do this, the control in weathers, in wind, so 25 degrees is that one, basically the one in blue.
Yeah.
Just turn to the camera and tell me what you did there, Dan.
For me, I just try and feel like I'm holding this position a little bit longer through the swing. I'm trying to keep that shaft lean just that little bit further ahead of the club head. Basically.
Did you move ball position or not?
No, I don't mess about with ball position too much.
Okay, so you will, rather than mess with ball position, you're going to move handle lean in your
handle lean. I'm just trying to keep that position there, and I just almost restricted follow through feeling.
Which is all to do with holding that.
Yeah, that's the feeling that I would get.
So you're controlling dynamic loft.
Controlling the
so can we launch one higher without you hitting the ceiling? So get it into the 32s.
Yeah, okay.
So that one was hitting the net much higher.
Yeah.
That's launched up at 31. So not massively higher, get up Dan, but it was higher than obviously the 25 before it. So it's a very different angle that he's delivered. And loft, what did you do there then to hit it high?
I just almost felt like I was letting the club just release underneath my hands a little bit more.
Okay.
So I felt like I was getting an earlier release, should we say?
Yeah.
Feeling for me.
Okay.
Which had just allowed the club to just deliver a fraction more loft into it.
Yeah.
That's the feeling that I get from it.
Perfect. So if I do a couple, I'll use my club. Biggest thing I noticed with amateurs not controlling, and again Roy's quite a good example of it, when you watch good players pitching, is there's a lot preset into the action. So for instance, I'll start more pressure on my front foot.
Okay.
And as I make my swing, I'll keep that pressure feeling constant and even go a little bit further forward.
Yeah.
Where I see lots of amateurs wanting to do their normal weight transfers and pressure transfers that they do with their bigger clubs. And then, subject to how efficient they are at moving weights and everything across, that dictates how much lean or not lean they put into it and how much twist around the axis and the shaft they also put into it, which is why we then get the high poppers.
Yeah.
How many, this is quite a good question, how many amateurs have you seen who hit their pitches struck fizzy and in too low compared to ones that pop it up in the air? What do you reckon? Is it more poppers in the air or more good struck, fizzy, low?
I would say fizzy lower ones.
I totally disagree.
Well, I'm just thinking of the amount of thin bullets.
No,
that
but I
see.
said good struck.
Oh, good struck.
Thin bullets.
Yeah,
if you're going, the most amateurs I see pitching, who are struggling with distance control, it's not that they hit it low and fizzy and it gets up there and checks and just flies too far. well struck. It's just they strike it fine, but they just pop it up in the air and it comes up short right and things like that. I mean, Rory does that one. Or the other things over the back. He's popping it up in the air.
I'm thinking of guys that tend to start, as you mentioned there a minute ago, that use their weight transfer a lot.
Yeah.
And because they don't have the speed coming down into the shot, therefore they don't quite get back to the ball quick enough and they catch it a bit thin on the way up.
Yeah, but that's a different animal. I'm talking more about good. So I see the most frustrating one for me with pitching is I see well-struck pitches that just don't go the distance.
I think Rory is, as you said, Rory is a prime example. The amount of times that he pops it up short.
And it's because he can't control face the path.
Right.
So he gets his wrist angles not quite right, which you hear us talking about in lots of our lessons. Twisting the club around this axis of this shaft with delivery with some speed. He's going to pop the ball up in the air, subject to strike. And then what happens is he feels like, so you'll hear Rory say this statement a lot. I struck it fine, but I underplayed it. That's one of his statements he used. I just underplayed it. Where I know what he's saying, but I'm just sat there thinking, what you've actually not done, Rory, half the time is controlled the delivered loft, basically. So great way for people to get home out there pitching, trying to feel a little bit more kind of like they're going to consistently hit a better distance. Pressure on the front foot, keeping it there throughout the swing. Okay? Hitting into nets is quite good because if you watch where I pitch, so that hit the net about here.
Yeah.
Now if I strike it, that one's gone. What distance did that go?
So that carried 45 yards, launching at 25.
So if I'm going to try and go the same distance, again, that hit the net about there.
Yeah, fractionally high. Again, 27 launch, nearly 28. Carry distance 47.
So every golf club in the UK that these people are watching at, if they're from the UK, or most golf clubs from around the world, watch them do, have a net area.
Yeah.
Get your wedges in the net area, feel some distances in your head, and try and hit that net in an exact spot. And try and hit the net lower than you think, because most of you are poppers.
Yeah.
Pop up in the areas. So maybe get the ball a fraction further back where you start. Maybe lean further forward. Maybe have more lean. Now bear in mind, if you put more lean in, you need to put a bit of twist in as well, because just lean on its own points the face to the right.
Yeah.
And then see if you can control that launch, that lower than your normal feeling launch. So that one was lower. I was trying to hit that one lower. Normally there, I was a bit more down there.
Yeah.
You should start wearing out a spot in that net, basically.
And this is no different than what I was talking about earlier with the window, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
exactly the same thing. Whereas I picture, and I would have done this as a kid, using nets. We didn't really have practice ground.
Yeah, I was the same.
So using nets for hitting different trajectories and different windows is perfect.
Fantastic. Right, if you come and hit a few more to finish there, Dan. Questions going on?
There is.
I'll take
one down the bottom there. Yeah.
Question there. Should you be hitting down on your pitch shots as well as your other clubs? What do you reckon, Dan? Hitting down or not?
I don't necessarily feel like I'm hitting down on it, no.
But you are. If we measured, you are absolutely hitting down.
It's not a conscious effort that I'm trying to hit down. I think probably, having my weight slightly further forward and having my shaft lean forward slightly is probably promoting a little bit possibly of that.
Yeah, well the big danger of hitting down, just to put it out there, look, when you get the club coming near the ball, when my hands are opposite my right leg, my handle is actually coming up to send the club down, so hitting down for people often makes them just career into the ground. The other thing as well, what I try and do, is I often feel like I'm hitting down, so I feel like I'm going to get a ball and divot in my head, but I'm staying relatively level with it. I'm not just digging.
Yeah.
So I'm almost feeling like I'm doing this with my pitch shots, which is kind of, it's not level because I will be hitting down, but it's more the feeling of pulling the handle up to push that club through. You get that kind of nice even dirt.
I mean, for me,
that controls dynamic loft really well.
For me, I'm really focusing on trying to keep this elbow point here, just tucked into my left side, and then I really focus on turning hard. That's the feeling that I'm getting.
But it's interesting you say that. You absolutely talked about wrist angles when you changed when I said hit the high one and low one. You actually centricked around handle forward, handle back. You didn't mention body turn at all.
But that is also part of my feel, should we say, with that.
Yeah. Just a couple of pictures just to finish, Dan. Thanks for everyone who's watching. Remember to hit the thumbs up button if you like these live videos. Also hit the subscribe button. Controlling your launch when you get into your pick shots should be the next thing you get out there and try. If you want to control distance, it's blatantly obvious if you think about it that you've got to control launch. Because how do you know how hard to hit it if you don't know where it's going to launch? So if I know I've got a club that has to launch over this net, because there's a tree, I instantly know I need more speed because I'm sending energy that way and not that way to my normal launch window. And vice versa, if I'm going to hit one lower, because there's an overhanging branch, again my speed will change because my launch has changed. If you're stood in there hitting pitches and you're getting launch deviations of 7-10 degrees, like if we measured Rory, he would be getting them if you hit enough shots. God knows how hard to hit it. I mean, that's why it's so hard if you watch the videos for us to say to Rory, do it this way, because you don't know what one he's going to pick out the hat. Where if you could just concentrate on that launch angle, you would become much better pitchers. Will more wrist add more loft? So can you just, if you stand facing the camera down, more lead wrist extension, so flicking your hands forward.
This way.
Could add more loft. And then go back to standard position. If you were to flatten left wrist, that could take loft off. So more bowing around the wrist there. But if you were to talk about, say, more wrist, that way or that way is not going to particularly do anything, apart from point the face in slightly different directions. And then obviously if you were going to talk about that way and that way, with this and this, pronation, supination kind of ideas. Definitely more bowed wrist idea, taking loft off, flick wrist forward, more on. That's what you were doing, wasn't it? To control.
To control that. I was keeping that more I was trying to keep it more there, as opposed to almost letting it kind of slide underneath, should we say. Okay,
we're going to finish on a quick game, just to show the skill level or not.
Okay.
You've got to launch it no higher than 25 degrees, but go 60 yards.
Okay. 56 degree.
And you're not allowed to fly it further than, you want to be flying it between 50 and 60 yards, but 25 degree launch.
Get in.
So I think this is your last one. 23 degree launch, so you definitely got the launch lower and you carried it 57. So one more go.
One more go. And you want the same? 50?
25 degree launch. 60 yards. The ball is going. There we go. Look, this is the skill set. And you'll get this with all players of Dan's standard and certainly above. He is launching that 24.3. I asked him to launch it 25 degrees and he is carrying it 59. So do you see what I'm saying there? You are absolutely, without starting this video, understanding even that your launches were the same, how quickly, because your visions of understanding lower launch to higher launch to distance, were able to find those two numbers in relationship to each other. You give that task to the average amateur, they just would not know where to start. If I said to you, I want you to launch it at 25 degrees with that wedge, you wouldn't know if to hit it higher or lower because you didn't know your launch angle. I could say to you, I want you to launch it slightly lower, but still go 60 degrees. And you found that in 1 or 2 shots. Your average amateur would take a long time to find those numbers. That's the skill set that better players have.
I agree.
And that is the skill set that most of the people out there watching don't carry with them because they're not controlling that launch. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
That was a fun one.
I enjoyed that.
Because even you were learning.
On the spot.
I know,
you put me on the spot there. Get your wedges out, Dan.
Dan's got to learn as well. Remember, hit the thumbs up button as always. Subscribe. Thanks for watching. Loads more lives coming. And we will speak to you